Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome if you're watching this later. Today we have Judda from Diary of a Flipper. Welcome, mate. Thanks for
What's happening, mate? How are
coming
we?
along. Yes, very good, thank you. We've got a interesting list of questions for you today, mainly focused about reselling with young kids. Both yourself and I have one little kid each that we're sort of, reselling around, I suppose you might say. So let's start with a little bit of an intro, just for people who don't actually know who you are. Just give us a quick spiel about, I guess, where you're at and what you do.
So I am now a full-time reseller. I've just been made redundant about 4 weeks ago, so 4 weeks into full-time reselling. I do have a little one, family man, and he keeps me on my toes, that's for sure. But I've been reselling for it'll be coming up 2 years now. In regards to reselling things from op shops and garage sales and whatnot. I was doing a little bit beforehand in regards to sporting memorabilia. That's where my passion is, and I'll continue to do that. So that's where it all started. Found this reselling game, found the wonderful world of YouTube, and started having a bit of fun documenting my journeys, and that ended up into a few people following and meeting some good people like Frankie here and a few other friends around the reselling community. So that's where I'm at now. I'm 4 weeks in full time.
Awesome. We've got a couple of people in. I didn't think there'd be too many jump in, but we've got Scott here, just helping his missus upgrade the furniture, and Charlie's recycled revenue as well. Yeah, let's jump right into it anyway. So I've given you a list of questions. So the lead up to full time. So I've got here you made the mental decision. So you were kind of, obviously you were made redundant. Did you think about trying to find another job, or were you always just like, I'm just going to give it a crack right now?
I think if this had happened 6 months ago, I would have definitely been looking for another job. I kind of got to the point with the reselling where it does become a bit addictive, and it started taking over a little bit. And I was kind of looking at the stock that I was bringing in and the sales that were going out, and I figured, look, I could have a crack at this and probably make a full-time wage. And that, don't get me wrong, that's based on the fact that I had sort of the memorabilia stuff going on as well. So it's not purely 100% coming from op shops. So I think a while ago, I would have looked for another job, but the way the world is at the minute with COVID and everything, me being from a country town, I thought it might be a little bit hard to get a job. I mean, I'm qualified in 2 trades. So the first trade I did, I was actually a painter and decorator. I did that for nearly 10 years, and I swore I'll never do that again. I absolutely hated it. I toughed it out because the money was all right for what I was doing. And then I went into print, and look, the art of print is dying, and that's why we no longer have jobs as printers, because I was a newspaper printer, which is lithographic printing, and it's just on the decline, simple as that. There's factories shutting down everywhere, and COVID was an excuse to basically end us. So look, there is different sorts of printing around that I could have looked into, but that meant traveling to Melbourne, and that's probably an hour and a half drive for me, so it's not something I'm willing to do, obviously, with the family. So that's where I sort of thought, well, looking at my numbers, if I actually double the workload, maybe the money will double, the income will double. So I thought, if I'm ever going to try this, now with a payout behind me, so I already had savings and a bit of financial security, why not now? It's the best time. And look, at the end of the day, if reselling goes tits up for me, I've had a go, I've learned some lessons, and I can go back to part-time. But for now, I'm pretty invested in it, and I'm, as I said, pretty addicted to it. So that's at this stage, that's where we're at.
That's good. Have you considered doing, like, well, how's it going for you so far? So you're 4 weeks in. Is it sort of what you expected so far?
Yeah, it's good. It's been good. Like, we all know sort of this month, or this past month, has been a bit of a funny time. It's been inconsistent, but there's still even though it's been inconsistent, there's been an increase for me just purely because I'm listing more stuff.
Volume.
And I'm putting a lot more time into it. So, yeah, it's been really good, and I have been enjoying it. It's a lonely world as a full-time reseller. Once the little one goes off to daycare and the wife goes to work, you're home by yourself, watching people on YouTube or talking to your dogs. So it does get a bit lonely working by yourself. But, yeah, I've been adjusting pretty good. It still kind of doesn't feel real. It feels like I'm on a holiday because as such, when I had my days off, I was doing eBay stuff. So now it's trying to find downtime too is pretty hard. I get to a night when Eli goes to bed and stuff, and I don't know how to sit down and do nothing because the last 18 months I've been listing, or researching or watching someone. So that's trying to find the downtime too has been a bit of a struggle.
Might touch on that a little bit later, but the other question I was going to follow up with was, have you considered perhaps doing some study or looking into a future job later on down the track?
I did think about that, as I have something I probably don't talk much about or ever really spoke about with everything. I have a strong passion for animals and I love wildlife and all that sort of stuff. And that was a long-term goal for me. That was I was waiting for this print site to shut down, and then I wanted to get into something along those lines, whether it was sort of a conservation aspect or just caring for animals in general. It was just something I was really passionate about, and I've had lots of stuff here that I've looked after and kept in the house. So that long term, that was a goal for me, and that's still not out of the question. At this stage, I won't do any study because I don't have the time for it, but that's still something that's possible down the track that I'd like to probably do.
All right. Good answer. All right, let's go on to question number 2. So you've started full-time. You sort of touched on this briefly before, but how has your schedule changed now? So what are you normally doing each day?
So it's still it's changing every week. Honestly, it's changing every week. But there's a couple that have set in place now for me that I've found to work good, and that is the early starts. I'm making sure I'm up out of bed between 6 and 6:30 because the little one, he starts his day around probably 7:30. He usually gets up, unless he's had a rough night. He'll get up and start then. So what I like to do is actually get up and start packing stuff straight away. And the good thing about that is kind of the mad rush that I was getting of a night when I was working full time. For argument's sake, on a Sunday night, I'd do the live stream with the boys, and then we'd finish up at 9 o'clock. By the time we have a chat, sometimes we might even chat for half an hour after the stream. And then I'd start, if I hadn't already started, I'd be packing until sometimes 1 o'clock in the morning. So, and when you sort of get 30 to 40 items over that weekend, it can be a long sort of session. So now I've got the ability, I can get up early, I can get a couple of hours packing done. Once he gets up, get him ready, get him off to daycare, and then finish off what I've got to finish off. So that's the main change that I've had, just those early starts, and trying to adjust my body too after being a shift worker and doing sometimes sleeping right now. This was kind of midnight for me only just a few months ago. So trying to adjust has been a little bit hard, but that's kind of the main schedule change. The rest just keeps changing. Fridays I've sort of designated as my bookwork day, which is kind of something I was always very slack on. And I just make sure I sit down on a Friday, I do all my numbers, get out the spreadsheet. It's something I absolutely hate. I know it's something he loved, the old spreadsheets, but I get stuck into that and go through all that, sort out. Even I do a bit of online sourcing and stuff. But they're kind of, the middle of the week is still swapping and changing each week. I don't have set days for sourcing and all that sort of stuff. It just kind of depends on what's going on at the time. And then the other one is basically Tuesdays is my day off. I've designated Tuesdays is my day with Eli, and he doesn't go to daycare or he's not cared for that day. So it's our day one-on-one. And my main goal is to make sure I'm not doing anything eBay related for that day. I don't want to be having my head buried into the phone. I actually want to enjoy my time with him. So that's the sort of the main goal with that. So that's locked in, Tuesdays with him. So the rest is just kind of like Mondays. Once everything's packed, I could be sourcing that day. I could be listing. It just kind of depends on what's going on. There's nothing set at the minute.
Oh, good. All right. Let's get into the question that we've all been waiting for. Reselling full-time with kids. How are you finding it? What are the positives and are there any negatives? I'm guessing you've got an example of the negative from recently with the
yeah, I'll bring the negative up in a minute. Look, from being just in my brief experience as full-time, nothing's changed too much just yet other than, well, I suppose it has because he was crook last week. So now Kate's picked up her hours. She's, for anyone that didn't know, she's a psychologist and she works for herself. So she's working one-on-one with clients. So now if Eli's crook and he can't go to daycare, that's my responsibility. So trying to adjust. When he was crook last week, I had time with him, but then I was back to kind of doing my eBay stuff at night. Kate ended up having to have a day off because he was pretty crook. We had to give him the old swab up the nose, and we knew probably wasn't a good idea just me being there. So she kind of took that day off. We swapped our days around and all that sort of stuff. So adjusting with that, if he is crook and things like that, it's kind of more going to be my responsibility to take those days away from selling stuff and listing. So that's it's going to be sort of tricky to juggle that, and that's exactly what all the mums do. So hats off to all them because they just do it like it's nothing. So yeah, that's sort of the main one that's going to be tricky to just juggle in there. But on the positive aspect, which doesn't change when it comes into full-time or anything, I think, and you'd totally agree on this, we can be up with trends. We know what's actually in at the moment. And I know our kids are both under 2. Well, sorry, my young bloke's just turned 2 a few months ago, but we know exactly what they're all loving, and I think that can help us with our business because at the moment everyone's just frothing for Bluey. Bluey's making us money because we know what to look for. And then some things, they go out and they disappear and then you can't find that stuff anymore. So we know when you find it, all the mums and dads want it for their kids. So I think we have a little bit of an advantage with things like that. That's definitely a positive. Another positive personally for me is more family time, simple as that. I worked 12-hour night shifts, so I spent a lot of time sleeping through the day. And I worked every second weekend for 12 hours each day. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday was 12-hour shifts. So every single second weekend, I didn't get to see the young bloke much, and it was tough. Like, yeah, I'd have the Monday, Tuesday off, but then he'd be in daycare. So that was really tough. So that's the biggest positive for me out of anything. I just get more family time. Simple as that.
Where have you actually gained that time? Like in the afternoon?
As a whole, like, to be honest, because if I was working a 12-hour night shift over a weekend, I'd work Friday, I'd have to sleep through the day, and I might see him a little bit in the afternoon and then go to work. And that was the same the next day. I'd probably be in bed before he even got up, and then I'd sleep most of the day. Then I'd get up, see him for an hour or so, and I'd have an eye hanging out each head. Like, I'd be all hair everywhere. I'd be an absolute mess, and then have to go in and do another 12-hour shift. So that's weekends definitely, because it was only every second weekend that I was spending sort of time with the family. But overnight too, because if I was on day shift, I'd have to go to work. Wouldn't get to see him. So by the time I got home, I'd get home around 7:30. He'd be going to bed. So there's I'm here all the time now, so that's the bonus. Get to sort of see him all the time.
How many hours do you think that you're putting in each day with full-time reselling versus your old job?
Look, I've got to start tracking this. It's something I want to do. I haven't tracked it because I know it's a high number. I'm definitely doing more than 40 hours a week because if I'm going to, I add into that the research I'm doing. I think when you're doing this stuff, education is the best thing that you can get. And I'm always looking for new, not so much niches, but new products to sell. I'm always looking up different things, whether it's just sold comps or online reviews. So I probably put that in as the hours as well because it's a part of your business. So honestly, I don't even know. I'm doing more hours than what I was. But I can juggle that now. I have the ability to do that when I want to do that. So when it's sort of dad time, it's dad time. And when it's work time, it's work time.
That's good. I got a question here from Scott. Did the wife have reserved feelings when you said you were going full time?
She was really good about it. And it was more she pushed me into it. I thought there'd be, she's good at not showing it, but I thought there'd be probably more anxiety of it on her side of things and kind of skeptical about it. Because, I mean, she sees the money coming in and she sees what's going on, but she doesn't list or sell anything. I mean, she's got her own stuff going on. So it was, I sort of thought she might kind of push me more to get a part-time job and do it. But she was all for it. And she's 100% had my back the whole time. So, I mean, obviously I'm in a unique position because I do have a payout. I did nearly 7 years of night shift, and I got paid out accordingly. So that's something that, I mean, if someone's about to dive into full-time reselling, you want to have the funding. So, and I have that plus my savings. So that's the bonus. But yeah, she was 100% had my back the whole way. She was kind of pushed me into it, I think.
Oh, that's good. Any other positives you can think of?
As I said, only being the 4 weeks in, it's sort of hard to sort of. I'm still adjusting. So the main positive for me is just the more time that I'm getting. So that's the 100%. Just loving that.
What about any negatives?
Yeah, it's the negatives is can be prevented, but it's damaged items. Now, this is the one that you were referring to. I sold. It was only a small item. Sold it the other day. Opened it up, and the actual DVD had a crack in it. Now, Eli spotted all these DVDs, kids' DVDs, and he got excited, and he was carting it around. I thought, he's all right with that, and he was playing with them, but I didn't realize he actually broke it. And then I've put it away, not thinking. Then it's sold, and then I got to send them a message and say this was broken. So I reached out to a few of you guys in the group chat to see if anyone had it, and I was just going to pay when I used to send it off. But, not to be. But anyway, that's a bit of a negative because he kind of keeps going into my office, and because I do a lot of RA and sell a lot of toys and stuff like that, he kind of comes in wanting them and then gets a bit disappointed when he's not allowed to have them. And it's kind of hard because he's only 2. He doesn't understand. He sees toys. He just wants them. And you got to say, no, buddy, like you can't have everything. He's got 1,000 toys. Don't get me wrong. He doesn't need them. But they're the 2 negatives, that's for sure.
What was the DVD, Robin's asking?
It was Harry McClary.
Oh, that's right.
Harry McClary,
yeah. How did you go with cancelling the transaction itself? Did you end up with default?
No, I stuffed it up, actually. I sent them a message and just said, look, I've had some stuff that was damaged. I'm going to have to cancel it. Really sorry about that. I'll give you a full refund, and if you do come back, I'll give you a percentage off whatever you buy. And I didn't hear back from them, but then someone else sent me a message yesterday saying, oh, yeah, no worries, but it was for a completely different item. So I've cocked that up somehow. I've sent it to the wrong person, so I had to quickly message them and say, oh, sorry, no, yours is on its way. And then message the original one with the broken item, and I haven't actually heard back from them yet. But I'd already refunded and cancelled, and I just done the old buyer's wrong address, which I've been caught out for before when they left a negative, but I ended up getting it removed. So we'll see what happens.
I only asked because I had the same thing. I had a Homer Simpson Christmas stocking that I sold on Thursday, I think it was, and I couldn't find it anywhere. And somewhere in the back of my mind, there's like, I think we might have used it last Christmas at some point for the actual stocking. I've just forgotten to take it down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've sent them a message and said, hey, I need to cancel this. I can't find it, but I'm willing to give you 50% off anything in the store, or the alternative is you can just cancel it. And when they reply, say, oh no, just cancel it. And then you can at least say,
yeah.
Cancel.
Yeah, that's and that's what I did on another one. And you do have to be careful because I didn't actually. I thought I did because I had about the item that I had went overseas a few times, the previous one, and a few people bought it, and this dude from Mexico kept buying it, and they wouldn't let me send it there because of COVID and everything. So I cancelled. I said, "Sorry, mate, I can't send it to you. Not allowed to send it over there." And anyway, I thought he bought it again, but it was actually another person from Mexico that bought it. And I just cancelled the order again and then sent the same guy the message. And then a few months later, I got a negative feedback from the other guy that I cancelled and saying that I cancelled it, gave him his money, but for no reason, never heard from me. So I got onto eBay and I was, look, I got this negative. I couldn't send it. It's out of my control. And they said, yeah, well, you didn't actually send him that. And I cancelled it because the buyer asked to, and that eBay said no, the buyer didn't ask to. So that kind of was hanging over for a few days, but I did just I kept nagging eBay. I nagged them 4 times. I had live chats with them, and I got a really good one, and she removed it for me. So that was the bonus.
That's good. Yeah, Sam saying the same thing I just said before. I actually initially heard that on the Pure Hustle podcast a while ago. I thought that was a pretty good tactic. It's only the second item that I've lost. I had a $7 book 2 years ago that I lost, and I cancelled it and said, I can't find it. And then, got the defect. I went, I have to be careful about that in the future.
Yeah. I think I did a similar thing early days, and I didn't actually realise at the time I didn't have the knowledge about the defects. I didn't know it was a thing. So then when I sort of seen that, I was just kind of cancelling, just saying the buyer asked to all the time, but then got caught out. So I'm hoping I don't get caught out this time, but that's what I've done. So we'll see what happens.
So as Eli gets a little older and a little wiser, do you think you might have to move some of your RA stuff somewhere else to keep little hands out of there, or what do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm at the moment still transitioning. So we have a big shed at this side of the house, and that's going to be the storage shed. So everything will be out there. It'll be locked. He won't be able to get in there. At the moment, it's full of crap. There's shit everywhere, literally just everywhere. We've got another shed getting put in a few weeks. So that'll be kind of a lot of my personal stuff, tools, mower, all that crap will go in there. And then I can use this shed off the side of the house as a storage shed. So, because at the moment we have all my tubs and stuff are in the house. It's just taking up so much room. It's starting to become a bit of a nightmare. So all the stock will go out there and it'll be completely away from him.
Oh, that's good. Need to hide everything, even stuff and thing they won't like. Yeah.
Yeah, and they want the most bizarre stuff too. Like, he doesn't want the stuff that he probably should want. He wants all the stuff he's not supposed to have. So
it seems to be always the way. I've got a bookshelf that's underneath the kitchen bench on the outside. So when you're looking at it, it's just full of books. And Leela just loves those. We've got a little section of books that she can pull out. And then I've got like a collection of books on the other side, which is blocked off by a chair. But if I'm not careful, she can just use a little walk and ram into it, and then just put it out as well. Yeah. Brad's got a question here. Oh, he's in storage.
Yeah, probably not, but it's probably a little bit far for you, mate.
All right, let's move on to question 4. This kind of, I guess, builds on the shed. Infrastructure. What are your business goals, and what are you looking to do for the next 2, 5, 10? Are you going to keep growing and spending 60 hours a week, or are you going to try and get to an income level you're looking at and then slow down a little bit to give you more time back? Is Eli going to come back and spend some more time with you, like back to 2 days a week at daycare and 3 with you, something like that?
Yeah, for now, I want to keep growing. I do kind of have rough financial goals that I want to hit mostly, but I just want to sort of grow. I shouldn't say as big as I can, because if you do that, there's kind of no end to it. My main plans are as of next year, and I've said this before, I'm going to be starting up a website, and that's just purely for the sport memorabilia side of things. And I want to sort of see how that takes off, experiment with that, because I know I can do well out of that. I've been doing that for a while, and I feel confident with that stuff. So that's kind of the goal next year. And I also do want to hire someone to help me out, probably early next year, whether that's kind of just on a casual base of maybe one day a week coming to pack some stuff, just running some errands for me, or I might pay them per piece to do some photos and all that sort of thing. So they're sort of the short-term goals. That's what's coming up kind of early into next year. Long-term, I as I said, I want to keep building this. And long-term for me is actually, which isn't good for resellers as such, but it's brick and mortar. That's something I'm kind of looking at more now, and something I want to do in the next maybe 3 years. Now, when I say that, the brick and mortar side of things for me personally would be basically sporting memorabilia, and that's kind of it, or collectibles and all that sort of thing. The town that I'm in here is probably not suited to it. Geelong's probably the best bet.
Yeah.
Geelong's probably the best bet, which is an hour's drive, but it's not too bad from my sense, because, at the end of the day, you can have someone in there doing your thing for you, and I can do reselling from here. So that's kind of what I want to do. But if I did have brick and mortar here, it could also be an option to turn the back of it into the reselling business. So I could employ someone and then use it, access space as the reselling side of things, which is purely online. So that's kind of the goal for the next probably 3 years. I really like to venture into the brick and mortar side of things, especially for the memorabilia side of things. But if I can merge the two and get them both in there somehow and have the party in the front and the work out the back, then that's what I'll try and do.
Have you looked into it yet? How do the rents compare between where you are and Geelong?
Yeah, I haven't looked into that side of thing yet. That will be the big question, because Geelong will definitely be a lot dearer, simple as that. And it may be a better option to be here for maybe 12 months, 2 years, because there's a bit of a trend in Ballarat, and that is when new businesses come in, and this is probably not so much what I'm looking to do, but we see it with everything. If something comes in this town, it gets absolutely smashed for 12 months, whether it's a food joint, a new shopping centre, something like that. Ballarat's growing. It's getting pretty big, don't get me wrong. There's a lot going on here now. But every time something comes in, it gets smashed for about 12 months, and then it dies. Simple as that. It just seems to happen with so much stuff. So, with sporting memorabilia as such, that is very unique. To be getting enough people sort of coming and going, it might be tough. But yeah, well, sort of as far as the rents and stuff go, I can only imagine Geelong would be a lot dearer.
How many people in Ballarat? 100K, a little more?
Yeah, a bit over 100, probably 100 to 110.
That's always more. I've thought about this before as well, and occasionally driving around, I'll see a bunch of shops, for lease, and think, I wonder if that would be a good spot for a shop. But the foot traffic in some of those areas, I can't see it happening occasionally. Yeah, something I've not really thought about enough, I suppose.
Yeah.
Jazz saying definitely important to grow at a sustainable pace.
Yeah.
Burnout can occur running around all day. I was going to mention too, I've actually got a template for a set of instructions for listing photographs that you're welcome to borrow if you like as well.
Yep, that'd be good.
Just lost my lady who used to help me do my photos as well for the clothes. She's got a full-time job now, so she's too busy. So I've now got to go through the process of finding someone else to help me out again.
Yep.
Chance to improve the processes again though.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your superpower? What do you do exceptionally well?
For reselling, it's probably speed. I think I can get shit done. Simple as that. I feel like once I'm in the mindset that I'm doing a day of listing and I'm getting this amount done, I don't stop. There has been sort of times where I could get distracted in the past where you might just quickly check your phone, check Instagram, and you might have sent me a message and we get into a big chat about footy jumpers or something. You know, I've become able to push that aside, and once I'm focused, I can stay in the zone. I think that's a big key to my business at the minute and it growing, just because when I'm focused, I can just get shit done.
Good answer. It wasn't quite what I was expecting, but it's good. What about the flip side of that?
Something that I've touched on before, what I do on my Fridays, which is the paperwork side of things and tracking everything. I discovered how bad I was at that when tax time came around. I kept my receipts and stuff, but I had an absolute disaster of shit ahead of me. And Kate helped me out with that. She's the brains in this relationship. I think that's probably pretty obvious to anyone that's watched me before. But she helped me get through that. That's for sure. And now it's a matter of kind of just getting used to that. Every Friday, I'm doing my the bookwork and all that sort of stuff, and I'm getting better at it, but I still suck. Like I'm tracking everything better, but I'm just, I've every week I've changed how I do it, and I haven't actually found myself a good system yet. I think, hang on, this seems all right. I do all that, and then the next week, scrap that, start again. And I haven't got my head around that yet when it comes to all the financial stuff. So that's a big goal of mine, to get on top of that and get sorted. I am going to go to a financial planner too, and just kind of talk business and get some ideas off her. So
that's a good idea. How many hours do you reckon it took total to finish your tax?
Oh, look, I can't even remember. You'd be better off asking Kate, because she look, I spent a lot of hours pulling my hair out and nearly throwing laptops and scavenging through PayPal and CommBank and all that. She put a lot of time into it, but she saved me a lot of money. It was a few hours. It was a good solid few hours.
Yeah. Brad's saying you've got a special superpower.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. Cheers.
You got the cutlery as well.
It's going to be cold though. I've been talking too much.
If the chat's got any questions, fire them in and I'll throw them up. But one I had for you was, I guess, in the years moving forward, do you have any plans to involve Eli in the business of reselling, or using reselling to help, teach in some form?
Yeah, definitely to help teach. I think just in general, showing him what I'm doing is definitely going to help him when he's older. Just kind of learning sort of responsibilities in life as such. I think there's a lot of things that we do as resellers that you just don't get taught, and that's learning the value of things and kind of the hustle mentality and all that sort of stuff. Even just in saving money, something that I was never good at when I was younger. So I will try to teach him in that sense with what I do, but I'll never force reselling onto him. And I feel that's important, as for any parent, not to force anything on their kids. So for me, it'd be easy. I could force him into playing basketball and playing footy because I love him, force him into playing guitar because I was a musician and I love my music. But I feel like forcing it will turn them the other way. So sure, I'll leave the door open for him to gain the interest and sort of come in. So if he gets to, if he's 12, 13 years old, and, look, Dad, I want to go up shopping, righto, let's go. Like, he's doing that already. We took him yesterday, and he knows now if he goes to an op shop, he usually gets a book or a toy. So he kind of likes the shopping mentality, but he is only 2. But, yeah, I won't force it on him, but I'll leave the door open and hope he kind of comes in and gain some interest, because I love it, and I assume he's going to as well.
Yeah, we've been trying to, I guess, incorporate op shop finds into day-to-day life and what leaders, playing with and what's around there. I'll give you an example. So I found this yesterday. It's just a big block print.
Yeah.
But 1990, wife loves dinosaurs. I love dinosaurs growing up as well. And it's just, you know, you can find some really cool stuff that you can just impact their lives with. Yeah. Yeah, actually, I went out yesterday and I was looking for some wall hangers, and I went to a particular shop that sells various bits and pieces, and they had the, I assume, granddaughter behind the till learning how to, you know, take money and give change, and yeah, I don't think the education system goes deep enough into anything financial related and how to manage money and save and plan for the future.
No, that's exactly right. I still remember doing things at school, like doing maths, doing algebra and stuff, and that has had no impact on my life whatsoever. So I think, yes, things like this, it's amazing what they'd be able to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. Scott's saying he's found a decent bookkeeper, and yeah, pay out what you need to pay. Your wife sounds amazing from reading.
Yeah, she's pretty good. She's good to me.
And Sam, my wife, my kids have learned a lot about making money. A lot about money watching videos. It's been a great side effect. Yeah, I just like the concept of the value in things where. You know,
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, at this stage, he's too young to know the value of things. Like, you give him something valuable and tell him not to throw it. What's he going to do? He's 2 years old. He's going to peg it at something. But as he grows older, he might learn to like appreciate his own stuff more if it does have a bit of value, because then he might think, well, look, when I get older, I can sell this and I'll get a little bit of money to get the next thing that I want. I want an upgrade on my bike or my skateboard or whatever. And I think that's something I didn't have as a kid, that's for sure. Like, I just, look, to be honest, my parents would probably give me something if I asked for it, to an extent. I mean, I wasn't a spoiled brat, but I didn't know the value. I didn't really treat my stuff that well when I was a kid. I just get rid of it. And then that's now why all the stuff that I probably had that had value, like my Pokemon cards and Street Sharks and all that, went to an op shop because I just didn't care. It was just as simple as that. Just gave it away and just buy something else. But I think having sort of seen what I do, he might realize, well, hang on, this is actually worth something. I can get more stuff if I sell that. So,
or at least offer the option or the suggestion. Like, I'm the same. I grew up with not rich by any means, but we never really bought secondhand anything.
Yeah.
And I kind of look back at it now and think that it's a little bit of a waste because, you know, one, you're not using stuff that should be used anyway or saving it from landfill, but a lot of money that, you know, you could have saved and used on something else, like trips or experiences and things that you actually didn't want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I said there, my kids have learned never to pay full price for anything, and I think, yeah, that's something I want to teach for sure. Saucy Snags is back. I love that one.
That's good, isn't it? There's a few good ones getting around now.
Yeah. What else do you want to talk about?
That's up to you, mate. I'm free flowing. I'm happy to talk kids. I'm happy to talk reselling.
What do you think? Obviously, it's an interesting day today. The acceptance speech from Mr. Biden in the States, and considered that at all? Any impact on your life?
No, none whatsoever. I don't get into politics at all. I never really have. I express my opinion strongly around Kate because it annoys her. Because she knows I have absolutely no education or information behind my what I'm saying. I just like to annoy her by disagreeing with what she agrees with. So, yeah, but honestly, it's not my thing. It's just, yeah, I just don't get interested in it. I mean, I probably should, but I don't.
Yeah, I've been following it for the last couple of days, and it's just, Back in 2016, when Trump first ran for president, he had odds at 501 to 1. And I thought at the time, I should put $100 on him just to see what happens. And of course, he ended up winning, always the way. But during that time, I was working away up on an island, and not a lot else to do. So I spent the day watching the results unfold in each state, the way it's counted, which, yeah, it's a little bit like watching a game play out. Have you ever played Risk?
No, I haven't. I've sold it.
Yeah.
I've never played it.
Reminds me of that a little bit. So yeah, I've been following that along. I've been hanging out to hopefully see Biden win, and mainly because of the hopeful influence he's going to have on climate change and that sort of things for the future, for not only some investments that I have, but obviously the future in general in the climate as well.
Yep.
Question from Robin. I think I know the answer to this. What's your favourite beer?
I'm pretty open to most beers. There's obviously been a few down the track that I didn't enjoy. My favourite's definitely VB. I love a good VB. Followed probably by, I like a good Furphy. I like most beer, to be honest. Iron Jack, I went through a phase where I went through Iron Jack just as a mid-strength. And Asahi, Pixel Sean, he got me on them, and quite often I'll buy a box of them. They go all right too, like the old Asahi, Japanese beer.
Good. I actually had a VB a couple of days ago. It wasn't too bad.
It's all right. That's good.
It's all right. Question from Megan. How have you tackled the item specifics mountain? 400. Wow.
Yeah, I had a couple hundred. I've just kind of been doing that bit by bit. I've mixed that in on my Fridays as well. That's I make sure I kind of punch a few out. One thing I do when I do my listing that, or when I list, is make sure I kind of do at least 20 listings a day at least. And something that I probably should have said that I've changed too. I actually sort of on a Monday, I'll make sure I get more so I can schedule them out for the Tuesday that I don't work. So so that way I'm still listing on the Tuesday, but I don't actually have to do it. So that's something I do. Same with the Friday. I like to get a bit extra. So hopefully I can sort of schedule that out over the weekend and try and actually have weekends off, because I'm not used to having every weekend off. But anyway, yeah, the specifics, same thing. I sort of do that. I sell similar every day. I adjust 5 to 10 old items that are sitting there doing nothing, and I'll adjust them to make them better. So I'll upgrade their specifics, photos if I need to, and all that sort of stuff. But now I'm also trying to do at least 10 to 20 of the item specifics that need fixing. So I'm chucking that in there and trying to do it each day, or every couple of days at least. Instead of doing, I've just felt that to be better, because I feel like you can get frustrated if you try and do it all at once. It's just kind of like this bomb blowing up in your face, and it just kind of nags at you and just gets repetitive and you get sick of it. So that's how I've been doing it, just knocking a few on the head sort of every day, every couple of days. And I'm down to about 50 to go. So I think for the 50 to go, I'm just going to get in and get that done. But the rest has been 20 a day. Because I think, what do we got? We got till about March or something, don't we?
I think so. I think it's a while, yeah. Are you using your phone or the computer to do that?
No, so that's on the computer. I run probably 80% of my business off my phone. I just prefer it. I hate using computers, to be honest. I'm not that, as you know, I couldn't get my microphone to work for the last week, and then Kate fixed it for me just before I came on. So I do most things on my phone. I list everything on my phone. But yeah, for when it comes to that and promoted listings and all that sort of stuff, I'm doing that on the computer.
Yeah, I've been chipping away, sort of, as I've seen them come up on the phone telling me that they're there. I've been just trying to attack them straight away so they disappear again. I've been doing that for the last month or so. Seem to be on top of it, which is good. I was going to ask you before, so do you have any plans to try and, I guess, get Eli out of daycare back to a couple of days a week or something to give you more time with him? You think that might
So he does 2 days 2 days a week at daycare. He's
okay.
he's only there. Yeah. So on Tuesdays he's off with me, and then on Thursdays my mum and my mother-in-law rotate. They have him every second week. So he's with his nans each Thursday, and then Friday Kate actually doesn't work Fridays, so he's with Kate on the Friday. So we'll keep him the 2 days. Just he likes it there. He loves playing with the kids and stuff. So I think it's good for him. Just have that social interaction.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's a critical question for you.
That's tough. That's tough, but I assume I can still drink other beers, so I'll give up the VB. But I might need to get a few counselling sessions for it.
Yeah, good beers out of Geelong.
Actually, they're the people that started Furphy apparently are related to us. My nan's her maiden name's Furphy. Apparently, somewhere along the lines, they're relatives. So I probably should pump up Furphy a bit more and drink that a bit more, but prefer the VB.
Maybe if they send you a few freebies, might make it a bit easier.
Yeah.
Megan's saying she's convinced it's affecting sales. Well, I've got a open return at the moment, and I swear that's been pushing things along well.
The returns definitely 100%. I mentioned it when I had the open returns, that it was affecting me. Brad mentioned about it with him the other week, and there was also Samantha that I was talking to yesterday on Instagram, Aussie Flipper, and she said hers just dropped instantly as soon as this open return request. It's definitely, I agree, and something that I do now. I don't get a lot of returns. I don't have free returns on still, but something I do now, if it's under probably a $50 sale or whatever, as soon as I've got that tracking number and they've sent it out, I refund their money, and then the sales pick back up. And I just think, look, you're taking the risk that they've sent you a blank slip, but I mean, what's the chances of that happening? If you've got a tracking number, it's probably coming back. Simple as that. And that's what I found gave me that sales boost. And when I spoke to Samantha yesterday, I said that to her. That's what I do. She refunded the money because she said it was in transit. She spoke to this woman, everything was all good, and then the sales picked back up for her too. So she said she had a sale basically straight away. And yeah, I swear by that. As soon as you got that open return, everyone that I've had a dip in sales every single time. So as soon as it's on the in the hands of the Ozpost, I'm giving them their money back just to get the sales going again.
I might actually give it a crack right after this, because the guys has sent it back. So yeah, 4 sales open, nice. Yep.
Beautiful, love it. Yeah, I swear by that now. And obviously, you got to be careful. Don't refund until they've given you tracking. Once you've got tracking, you're pretty well good to go, because it's going to say that they've actually sent the item off. So it's going to say when you've received it. Simple as that. But I just refund it straight away. As soon as I got that tracking number now, I just refund it, and the sales pick back up.
Yeah, I've had one return and one item not received for it was a $5 CD, so I just refunded that instantly and went, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But yeah. How have sales been for you over the last few weeks?
They're real up and down. It's funny. I feel like eBay give me a cap at a certain price limit, because once I hit, if I hit a certain amount per day, then it stops. That's how I feel. I don't know if it's a thing, but I can find some days I can sell 20 items in a day, but they'll all be small priced items. But when I sold that, I was selling consistently that day. I sold that Raiders jacket, and then that went for nearly $400, and then the sale stopped for 12 hours. It's just, I just feel like they're capping me at a certain price, and that kind of bugs me. But look, they're good. They're definitely up. and I'm slowly trying to increase the consistency of my listing, which has definitely helped the sales. But definitely October was just a bit of a roller coaster. Some days were really good, some days were slow. But that's reselling.
Are you running any sales events or anything like that at the moment?
I ran a sale last weekend just on old stock. I tend to do that maybe once a month, but we've moved away a bit from the sales. I've jumped on Brad from Two Aussie Thrifters bandwagon with the promoted listings, and I'm a huge advocate for what he does, and that's ending all his promoted listings and re-promoting. I think he does it a couple of times a week. I do that every Friday. Every Friday I do that, and it gives me a kick. I stopped doing it for 3 weeks. It was a bit of an experiment, and I kind of dropped a bit. As soon as I re-promoted all my listings, picked it back up. So Brad's been talking about that for a while, and I've taken that advice 100% on board. It's helped my store. So I'm all about re-promoting everything in my store.
Yeah, I was doing sales sort of consistently, like a perma sale every month on renewal for probably 6 months at the end of last year and the start of this one. And for the last 4 months, I haven't run a sale at all.
Yeah.
It's only been the last few weeks, maybe 3 weeks, where I've seen things start to slow down a little bit and thinking maybe it's worth looking at, either doing a markdown or revising those promoted again.
Yeah. Yeah, I every Friday now I unpromote everything and then re-promote it. It's definitely working for me. It helps.
What else have you got coming up in the next few weeks?
On the YouTube front, I'm going to keep doing the Thursday chats. I've been enjoying them. I've had a few different people on. This week's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be interesting to see if the reselling community actually sort of comes across and has a look. I've got a guy coming on. He's another YouTuber, but he's not a reseller. He's actually a Pokemon card investor. So his name is DJ Addict. He's going to come over and have a chat with me. So we're going to talk Pokemon on Thursday, which will be a little bit different. Other than that, I don't really have a set schedule. I don't know. You probably can tell. I just kind of wing it with YouTube. I have been taken a little bit more serious and trying to get more videos out and all that sort of stuff. But look, this week I'll probably go thrifting this week, so I might just do a ride along. I'm kind of in the process of actually making a video from my transition into full-time reselling. And I'm also showing a bit of what I used to do as a printer and all that sort of stuff. But that's taken a lot of work to get that edited. So I don't know when that'll come out. That might be a couple of weeks away, but that's definitely coming out. And yeah, I've got a few other little videos sort of planned. It's just a matter of now, obviously the main focus is the business. So I don't want to take anything away from what I'm doing. YouTube comes next. If I've got the spare time, YouTube's a hobby for me. So that'll come sort of next. But Thursdays, I'll keep doing that. I've got a couple of weeks locked in, and then we'll start Resale Awards. So pumped to get that on the go.
I was going to say, I'm really enjoying the fact that you've put those all on podcasts as well, because I don't have a lot of time during the week to watch a lot of YouTube at all. So the fact that you've done that means I can jump in the car on the way to work now and listen to your last 3 chats in the car.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's I just sort of, I love listening to podcasts, and I listen to lots of different things in different things I'm interested in, but the one thing I'm interested in that's not really there to us as Australians is the podcast side of things. I just can't find anything. You mentioned Pure Hustle. I listen to them occasionally, but that's kind of it that I'm aware of. So I just thought, why not? It's not taking me any extra effort to do it. I'm not editing them, just ripped straight from YouTube. So, but like you said, if you don't get the time to actually tune in and watch, and you just want it on the background, it's kind of handy. So I thought, why not? I'll do that and see how it goes. And if it gains traction and people do enjoy it and they want extra content rather than just the Thursday chats replayed, I will put out more stuff. and I will start to edit them and kind of put a bit of time into it. But for now, it's just kind of testing the waters and see if people are even interested in it. But so far, I've had a pretty good response. A lot of people have said they're enjoying it, so it's good to hear.
Yeah, good. All right, well, we've just about made the hour already. Is there anything else you want to touch on?
No, that's pretty much it, man. I just appreciate you having me on. It was good to have a chat. I mean, I'm sure we could talk for hours, but where do you stop, sort of thing. So, yeah, it was good.
What are you doing for the rest of the day?
We've got a little wildlife park down the road. So the sun's out today. We're going to take the young bloke down there. He loves it in there. We've got passes, so we just go whenever we want. So we'll go down, have a look at the animals, and just chill out with the fam for the rest of the day. And then tonight I'll be chatting with the boys on Wild World of Reselling.
You're just saying no, keep talking. The Pokemon one will be interesting. I'm kind of thinking, it reminds me of like the Tulip Mania, you know, all the card prices just skyrocketing. I've got a heap of older AFL cards sitting in a box, and I keep thinking I really should get them out and perhaps chuck them up while the market's good.
Yeah, it's funny because like the AFL stuff, like I get a lot of that, and my brain's pretty good around that side of things. Kind of knowing when to sell, when to hold, when to keep, and trying to pull yourself away from either being an investor or a collector or a flipper. There's three different complete things. And this guy, he's an Aussie, and he's got a good channel, and he's got his head switched on in regards to investing, and he's a collector as well, but he explains how to invest. And it's something that I've been looking into because I've been doing a lot of that anyway. I've done that for a while with cards. Some go tits up. I've been not just cards, but match-worn footy jumpers. I have a bunch of stuff I've been hoarding at Josh Dunkley's, and I've been expecting the prices to go up, thinking he'll be a star. And that's the problem with sports. He's going to jump team this year, and the pricing that's going to devalue. So the thing with Pokemon, I suppose they're not going to leave the team, or they're not going to get hurt or anything like that, are they? So it's just be a good one to have a listen to because it's something, I've been pretty interested in. And I've been putting – Eli loves Pokemon now. He's obsessed with it. So now what I do, I'll buy him a few packets, and I'll pick the two out the middle with the hollows, put them in top loaders, put them in the cupboard, and in 30 years' time when he's my age, he'll get them. And hopefully it's done the exact same thing because we all know nostalgia. It comes around every probably 30 years. And that's when you kind of get to my age and you have kids, you want them to get into the stuff you're into, don't you? So when that comes back around, if he's had all this as a kid, I'm hoping the same sort of thing happens. Exactly what's happening now. COVID's played a big part in it. I think the COVID effect is huge on collecting. I know that firsthand from things that I collect, and that's boost prices. But there's also the YouTubers such as Gary V and Logan Paul that have just been talking about it flat out. It's just absolutely skyrocketed. So, I mean, at the end of the day, now's probably the time to sell, but there's so much stuff to still pick up and hold for 3 to 5 years because even I bought a box of those Pokemon cards 12 months ago, and it was sealed, and I paid about $80 for it. And now online they're worth about $300. So it's just crazy that you can get a lot of money out of simply by buying something, putting it in the cupboard, and then a few years later selling it. So it's going to be really good to have a chat to him and get his insight into it. And I'm going to try and sort of pry out of him some flipping techniques for us as resellers. So. Because I know a lot of the resellers won't want to invest as such. They'll just want to flip. They want to learn how to flip that stuff. So it's going to be interesting.
V&V mode bought a later Charizard card and the price has skyrocketed 4 times what I paid.
Yeah. It's absolutely nuts.
So a few years ago I had an original Charizard from the first edition. And put that up for auction. And I think I got 100 and something for that. But I hate to think what that thing's worth now.
Yeah, you get a few grand for that now.
Yeah, always the way. Where do you try and find? Do you try and find like the older style cards as well, like AFL, VFL, and?
AFL, no. I try to find the numbered cards, the limited cards, and I base it on players. So at the moment, I buy a lot of rookie cards of players that I think are going to be good in 3 to 5 years' time. And I don't just buy one, I buy a lot. And I try and get so with the rookie cards, only 250 are made of every player. All the rookies from that year, there'll be 2 per team from each year, and you'll get 250 cards made. The lower the number, the better the card, the more it's going to be worth. So if you can get the number 1 card, that's what everyone wants, and that's what's going to be worth a lot more money. Or if you can get the card of their jumper number, so say you get a player is number 22, you get number 22, that's awesome. And if they turn out to be a gun, the card just keeps going up in value, simple as that. So I do that with cards every year. I'll kind of pick guys that I think, look, he's going to be a good player. One, for example, Bailey Smith that plays for us. I knew he was going to be good. I always wanted us to draft him. I thought he'd be a number 1 pick, and we were lucky to get him at 7. And then he's come out all guns a-blazing this year. I've got heaps of his signature cards there and his rookie cards that are numbered. So in, who knows, in 10 years' time, if he wins premierships and Brownlow medals, they just go up in value. And it's the same with it's just a lot of it's not so much like you get your showstoppers and your influential cards that are numbered, they're rare. People pay stupid money for them as soon as they come out. And they probably don't go up too much in value. They kind of stagnate. But there's other just random ones, like the Prestige series that come out this year. You got your green parallel, which is just basically a card with the green background. And I think they're really undervalued because there's only 60 of them made. And they're starting to go up now. I bought a heap probably 3 months ago because everyone went, or 2 months, when everyone went stupid for the next series, which was Dominance. The green parallels went really, really cheap on eBay. So I bought a lot of them. And now the price is starting to go up. I reckon by next year that's going to be just mental price, especially on guys like Dangerfield, Cripps, Dusty, all those guys. So it's just a matter of following and watching the market. I think the best thing you can do is just research. Just if you're interested in the sport, it's just a lot of watching comps, see what stuff's selling for, pick some players that you think are good, and just watch what their price is doing now, and then watch what it's doing later. So, I mean, footy's finished now. The card market will drop off. So if you were sitting on cards, now's not the ideal to sell it. Next year kicks off. It's a good time to buy. It's definitely a good time to buy. And when the season kicks off, so I'll give you a tip, and this is only me having a guess, but I'm going to assume Paddy Cripps was a bit down this year. Last year he was up there, favourite for the Brownlow. Everyone wanted his cards at the start of the year because they thought he was going to win the Brownlow and all that sort of stuff. He was a bit under the weather this year. It was a weird season. I think he's going to get a little bit forgotten about next year, and I think he's going to boom. So I'm loading up on Paddy Cripps cards, whether it's Brownlow predictors, the green parallels, all that sort of stuff, Brownlow vote getters. And then I'm hoping next year, because they're bringing in 2 really good halfbacks. They're bringing in Zach Williams, bringing in a few players. I think Carlton and their young team will improve again. I think Paddy Cripps is going to have a big year. I think he may win the Brownlow next year. That's my prediction. Or he'll be up there, top 5. And if that does happen, these cards are going to be worth double what I paid for them just recently, and I'm still buying his cards. So that's just one player. I'm not going to say it's a definite. That's just me predicting that. But that's kind of what I do with that stuff. So, I mean, it's each to their own what players they think is going to be good and what players are going to increase in value. But I think he's undervalued at the moment.
How are you? So you're selling cards at the moment?
I haven't got many for sale at the moment. I'm more buying at the minute, and it's the same with NBA. I'm loading up on NBA stuff. And with the NBA stuff, because everyone's kind of put their focus into American football at the minute because the football's starting up over there. Basketball's just finished up. So I'm going to be doing more buying at the minute and then probably selling into the new year. With the basketball, my plan is I'm getting lots of different stuff. Same thing, I'm focusing on certain players. Another one in the NBA, Steph Curry. He's a superstar, championship player, MVP. He's been out injured. I think he's undervalued at the minute. I think he's going to come back out and be the star that he always has been. Even if he doesn't have a big year next year, when he does come back, he's still going to be known as that champion. He's one of the greats getting around. So I pick up a heap of his cards, but with the basketball, I will actually get those graded. So I'll send them off to be graded once I've sort of got enough to send off. But it's kind of a whole different sort of ball game in NBA.
When you sell an individual card, how are you shipping those at the moment?
So I get a little plastic sleeve, and I put the card in the sleeve, and then I'll have the top loader. So that's a hard plastic cover, and the card will go into that. So that way, having that extra sleeve, just because the cards can get scratched on the inside of the plastic top loader. So it'll be in 2 sleeves, and then I'll put a bit of masking tape over the top of it. So that prevents, if there's water spillage or something, if it's raining and it gets wet, water going in, damaging the card, that tape just protects that. And then I also add a bit of cardboard either side and tape it up, just so it doesn't bend. You just never know. It's probably safe in the top loader. I mean, 95% safe, but I like to be sure, especially if you're selling a card. Like, I've sold cards for over $500. So if I'm sending a card for $500, $600, $700, I want to make sure that's getting there the way it's supposed to.
Yeah. And track shipping, of course.
Yeah. And insurance. If it's depending on the card. I mean, if I sell a card for under $20, I'm not tracking it. I'm just going to take the risk. But if I'm selling something for $500 plus or even $300 plus, I will get insurance on it. Just because they're like, even I sent an envelope to Brad and Jazz a few months ago, and it took 2 months to get there, and they're only the next state across. Like, you just never know. You never know. And we all know what it's like. Stuff goes missing. It's just, especially at the moment, you just got to be safe.
All right, so we've gone an extra 10 minutes after we said we were stopping. So
you got me rambling, mate. It's easy to do.
Yeah, we could probably carry on, but all right, we'll call it there. Thanks everyone for joining on a Sunday afternoon, wherever you are, and hope you have a good rest of the day and the weekend. And we'll chat to you soon.
Thanks for having me, mate. It was good to have a chat.